And welcome one, welcome all, folks. Another appraiser stories for you today. These are super popular, and glad that individuals are willing to reach out to me from across the fruited plain and share their story here. We've got an exciting one for you today. I want to first remind you that we are sponsored by three great companies that have been with us from the very beginning. Speaking of the very beginning, I've been with Alamode from the very beginning, at least from my career, over 20 years, and you need to be as well. Check them out right now. You can get a free trial. That's 15 days free trial. If you go to alamode.com/free trial, that's alamode.com/free trial. And Datamaster also offering a 2-week free trial at datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. A little bit long, but you can write it down and visit it later as soon as the show's over here. datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. Once again, datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. And finally, we are sponsored by OREP Insurance. Folks, I will be renewing my insurance coming up in May. It comes up very, very quickly, and I actually start a couple of months early in order to get it done. You should as well, and you should look to OREP as the leader in the industry for E&O insurance. If you're not with OREP, you need to be. It's orep.org. It's OREP.org. Well, folks, like I said, we have another appraiser stories for you. I'm so grateful for my listenership. I'm so grateful for people being willing to reach out and put themselves out there on the altar, if you will. And got an email just a few weeks ago from an individual by the name of Brendan Campbell. Brendan is out of Boston, Massachusetts, and he is an appraiser for several years, and he is willing to come on and tell us a little bit about his story. Welcome to the program, Brendan.
Hey, Dustin, thanks for having me. How you doing?
You know what? The pleasure is all mine. I appreciate you taking time. I know it's a busy time of year right now for appraisers, and your willingness to come on and share your story is much appreciated. What made you reach out, Brendan?
Just that I've been listening for the past year or so, and I've enjoyed several of your guests, and also several other appraiser stories as well, and just figured, it's nice hearing what people are going through across the country because every market's different, and just figured I'd come on a little bit and talk shop.
Well, I tell you, Brendan, what's different about that answer is I reach out to appraisers all the time who say the same thing to me, that they listen to the podcast, that they enjoy the interviews, they enjoy especially the appraiser story side, and I say, well, you ought to come on. And immediately they say, oh, no, not me. So I have to ask the question, so what gets people over the hump of enjoying the program versus actually being on the program?
Well, I think for me it helps out. I spend a lot of the day typing the reports, and, there's only so much talk radio or certain things you can listen to, the politics, whatever opinions you have on that way, it can drive you nuts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So just hearing professionals, in the industry, you've had some great guests. I really enjoy that guest Ann you have on. I think she's great, Isaac Peck, and just other people from various AMCs and getting their perspective, on how they run things.
Awesome.
So that's why I just wanted to reach out and just, say hello.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Brendan. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Spend a little time talking a little bit about your background, why you got into this industry, a little bit about you as an appraiser.
Yeah, so I got on the appraisal industry back in, 2001 when I was just graduated college. So kind of that last summer where I needed a real job, and my father actually said to me, he said, hey, do you want to, I could call my old business partner. They used to be real estate brokers in Boston in the 70s and manage HUD properties and knew nothing about it. So I spent that summer getting my trainee's license. That company I started off as basically, a fee split guy, brand new trainee, rookie, followed around a supervisor for a little bit.
Right.
Had no idea what I was doing.
Nor do any of us at that point.
Yeah. And they had just had actually an appraiser leave, and so they gave me his territory, which was Metro West towns of Boston, which is a very affluent area. And I'll be honest, the first few months I'm driving around with a map book, the original digital cameras with the floppy disk, not knowing where I'm going. Yeah. Pulling over, trying to map it out in the map book, going into a Dunkin' Donuts with a coffee, figuring out what I'm using, and just, basically spending half the day on the road pulling my hair out, and then having to get back into the office, and now I got to type this whole thing up. So that's kind of how I started. But unfortunately, people remember back to that time. Then September 11th happened. So I was also in the military, National Guard, and our unit got deployed. So I had to put everything on hold, and for about a month, we were activated to state bases around the state for security. So then after that, I went back and worked as a trainee appraiser for about another 10 months. Then we deployed over to Afghanistan. So for the next kind of couple of years, I was back and forth between the military, appraiser, and all that sort of stuff. But I will say, looking back, it was a great way to learn because it got so busy in 2001 when they dropped interest rates. I think they were around 7%, then they went to about 5.5% right after 9/11, and it was really sink or swim. I'd come back into the office, and the secretary would, should have 3 or 4 new orders in my box, and I was just begging not to have any new orders because I was just trying to figure out how to do it.
Right.
And she said, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to do this to you, but all the other appraisers are booked out 3 weeks to a month, and I know I'm killing you." And I was working till 11 at night and 7 days a week in the office every weekend typing, but it was the best way to learn. I really had no choice.
Yeah. And, baptism by fire, right?
So that's exactly what I tell people.
Yeah.
That's how it was when I learned, baptism by fire. In those days, you could, trainees could go out on their own and, you could do it. And working in that office allowed me to, bounce ideas and advice off all the other experienced appraisers. I think, now we're remotely and a lot of times separated from that. And I just think it makes it really hard for anyone new to get in the business, let alone learn it,
Well, first and foremost, Brendan, thank you for your service to our country. Tell us a little bit about how that got you to where you're at now. Are you on your own, or are you still working for this other individual?
No, I'm completely on my own. I'm on my own. I have a couple people that work with me. So I went out after all the HBCC and everything like that around 2009. I went out on my own, picked up several AMCs and did that whole game for a while, and really learned kind of how to run my own office, everything like that. But
right.
I'll be honest, I got tired of the AMC model, so I kind of sought out better clients, as I've heard you say. Your A clients, B clients, C clients, and when I was able to wean my way off the AMCs, I was able to get on the VA's panel, Fannie Mae's panel, for REO, as well as a large mortgage originator that you're on a rotational basis. They don't use the AMC. You have much more freedom in that respect.
Right.
But so I was able to figure out what worked, what didn't work, and kind of go from there.
Okay, so you're still in Boston. Are you still covering the same area that you covered as a trainee?
It's a bit different. I do some, because I travel a bit more for some of the, because the VA, I'm sure I think I've read you're on their panel too.
I am.
You have to take whole counties, so sometimes there's a whole county that you have to cover, so it can be a bit more driving, but I sync those counties up with counties I handle for, say, Fannie Mae, and oftentimes, I'm in the similar area, so you can, handle multiple inspections while you're down there, and makes it easier, But for the most part, I still do a lot of the same area. I just don't do the downtown, that high-end, condominium market and that sort of thing as much as I used to. Gotcha.
So tell me a little bit about your business then. Are you the owner? Are you the sole individual in your business? Do you have others working for you? Or kind of describe, if somebody walked into your office, what they would see.
Yeah, so I'm the sole proprietor, sole individual owner. It is me. It's my name. I do have 2 other employees and appraisers that do work for me.
Nice.
But it's primarily me, and I'm the one that handles a lot of the day-to-day stuff. I do have some administrative help and support like that. But for the most part, a smaller company, that 1 to 3 person type staff.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Awesome.
So
what kind of volume are you doing, Brendan?
Oh, it can be anywhere from, honestly, like 35, 40 appraisals a month to, 50 plus if I want to. Sometimes I don't want to work that hard. I'm actually trying to do less right now.
I hear you, man.
And I'm hoping I'm actually happy interest rates went up a bit, so, it should slow down somewhat, and I think it'll put a crimp in some of the refi.
Well, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite you down the road 6 months from now, and you say, wait a second, what was I thinking?
No, I used to think that way all the time, but you know what? I don't know. I mean, I follow you a lot of your conversations, and everyone talks about the appraiser shortage. But I'm telling you, here in Massachusetts, it's really it's bad. The number of appraisers from 2010 to now, or since 2008, it's about 60% less when you factor in the licensed, certified, and trainee appraisers that were allowed to work Yeah, we had 1,600 trainees in Massachusetts, I think, in '07, and now there's less than 300, and no one will let them do anything.
Right, exactly. It makes it tough.
Yeah, I think we had 4,500 licensed and certified. Now, 10 years later, it's about 2,500. So I think we're in good shape for work, unless rates jump up to 6 or 7% in a few years.
Right, exactly. So tell us a little bit about Boston, Mass. What does it mean to appraise in Boston?
Okay, well, Boston is one of those unique cities. It's I guess it's the third most expensive city in the country behind New York and San Francisco. So it's a really expensive housing market. You're dealing with a lot of old homes as well too. A lot of times you're being an antique home built in 1660 to 1750, and all the quirks that come with trying to appraise a house like that. It's basically like putting a puzzle together. So you have that aspect, and then you have downtown. The condo market in Boston is very strong. It's a lot of prices are well over $1 million, 1,000 to 2,000 a square foot. So you're dealing with very affluent buyers, as well as a lot of foreign buyers buying Russia, China, India, places just to kind of park their money. And some of these places they just keep them vacant, or they rent them out, and then that takes inventory off the market for people that are going to buy and live in it. So it's a very dynamic, fluid, moving market, especially with all the colleges, universities, biotech industry. So it's a pretty diversified, knowledge-based economy, and the market is the problem is just not enough homes for sale right now. Everyone's seeing it. Realtors are telling me they've been doing it 40 years and they haven't seen anything like it. So kind of the state of it right now.
So Boston, of course, is one of the oldest cities in the nation. Do you do any historical homes, any historical neighborhoods?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of the brownstones in downtown Boston that I've done over the years. They're all basically on the historical register, but it doesn't really matter so much because so many of them have sold, and the comparables they're all in similar buildings. But what homeowners have told me is they call the historical association the hysterical association because anytime they want to do any renovations to their house, or they change windows, they have to get the approval of the city officials to come out and sign off on it. I mean, everyone wants to renovate. Yeah, so it just pushes everything back. I have appraised certain antique homes over the years that are on their town or city's official register. All that really means is that they're limited in what they can do or can or can't do in terms of paint colors and certain types of things. Like you can't go paint it like some funky color that'll piss the neighborhood off or whatever. So I have done those homes, and typically they're unique and specific to those type of buyers.
But as long as you have apples to apples as far as comparison, it sounds like you've got a lot of those to pick from.
Yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I'll be honest. I've sometimes had to do antique homes, comparing it to newer construction, and the lenders don't like it. No one likes it. You just don't have any other sales, and you're kind of going off, square footage and that sort of thing. And it makes it difficult too. They're tough homes, and oftentimes they're on very busy streets because, when they were built in the 16 or 1700s, those were the only streets in those towns.
Right. Exactly.
So now it's yeah. So some towns do have a lot of them. For instance, Salem, Massachusetts, where they had all the old witch trials. They have a ton of those type of homes. So usually finding comparables isn't difficult. It's when you go to the other towns that there's only a few in the town, and then you might have a handful of them, but have they sold in the past year or so? Likely not, and those are challenging to say the least.
All right, man. Speaking of Salem and witch trials, scariest encounter you've had as an appraiser? Yeah,
so when I saw this question, I thought, well, I've been in a lot of pretty bad REO homes over the years, pretty disgusting, and all of that sort of thing. But I'll be honest, it happened about 2 months ago. I was on an appraisal, VA inspection in Plymouth, Massachusetts, down there, and the homeowners meet me outside, and walking up to do the inspection, and he's got his dog out there on the run, and figured, okay, the dog's on the run, and walking up the deck stairs, and the thing just leapt out of midair and chomped down on my wrist.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, I got a real nasty bite. So sunk his teeth right through, sharp as razors.
Oh my!
So, yeah, I'm in the house and it's bleeding pretty good, and homeowner's shaking. He's all worried, I'm going to sue him or whatnot. And I wasn't too happy. I'll tell you, I was pretty pissed. And so I was thinking, do I finish this inspection? What do I do? My arm's bleeding, and I got a Band-Aid on it. So So I went through, did my pictures, that sort of thing.
I can just imagine this. So, gee, do I go to the ER or do I finish my damn inspection?
That's exactly what's going through my head. So and I'm dropping blood on his floor, and so I said, look, this dog has shots, and has he had all this thing? Am I going to need a rabies shot? And it was a 2-year-old, I guess, Shepherd Lab mix, and it turns out it was adopted, and they told me that's a really aggressive dog. Who knows if it was abused or whatnot, you know? Yeah, so I ended up, he told me he had all the shots, and I said, look, I got to go get a shot. I talked to my wife. She's like yelling at me if I don't go get a shot. She's going to tell me. So,
wives are good for that.
Yeah.
Not yelling at you,
So,
just making you do the right thing.
Yeah, they're good at getting, to do what they want.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, he emailed me the dog's records. Apparently it had all the shots within like a month. So when I went into this emergency care facility, they said, wow, no one really comes in with all of these, so that's good. I didn't need I didn't need a rabies shot, but I did need a tetanus shot because it's been over 5 years. And they said, this is going to hurt. The shot, of course, it hurts a little bit, but I'll tell you what, the tough part was the next day I felt horrible, groggy, couldn't really function. Typing one report took 3 times as long as it normally would.
Sure.
For a few days. Yeah, it just felt terrible. So, yeah, it kind of cost me a couple days, and besides having to go to the hospital, stitched up, and all that sort of stuff. So,
wow. Okay. Light side, man. Light side. Give us something humorous.
Oh, humorous? Well, when I found that, I guess I would say is, day to day being out with, meeting all sorts of different characters in what we do, from, crazy kooky real estate agents to some borrowers that are just kind of, you're in their house and a little bit quirky, sometimes maybe under the influence of a substance or two. And
now, come on, it's not legal over there in Massachusetts yet.
No, it is. It just passed, actually.
Oh, is that right? You're one of the states that just passed this year, huh?
Yeah. Well, before they decriminalized it, now it's passed.
Okay.
So,
all
yeah,
right.
and
All right.
Yeah. So, no, we're up there. Is Idaho one of those states?
Not yet. No, we're staying strong, if you want to call it that.
It might go that way if they put it to the vote,
Yeah, right.
But, yeah. So I would say, just basically, the quirky people I meet, all types of different people, So I'd say, I know that's not one specific thing, but I guess.
I'll tell you though, man, that's really what makes our business fun. I don't know about you, but every single appointment is different. Whether you're getting whether you're meeting somebody on weed or somebody with an aggressive dog, every situation is something new, right?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that's kind of what I like about it, the day to day, and just not the monotony of sitting in a cubicle every day and kind of getting out and about.
It's great.
What I like about the job.
It is great. Diversity is wonderful. So tell us a little bit about where you kind of see this going. Where's your business gonna be in 3 to 5 years? Where do you see the profession going in the next 3 to 5 years, Brendan?
Yeah, well, I say 3 to 5 years. I mean, I probably keep doing what I'm doing, just grinding out a living. Trying as I get older. I mean, I'd like to do less than more. I have 4-year-old boy-girl twins, so they've been keeping me pretty busy. And again, not try to take on too much, I would say. In terms of where I see the business, I mean, I definitely see a lot of changes coming down just due to the appraiser shortage throughout the country. And, there's already talk about Freddie Mac getting rid of appraisals on a lot of refinances, going off the UAD data that they've had and everything like that. I guess I anticipate the forms changing somewhat, and maybe it's going to go more to when, I could see borrowers down the road emailing photos and everything like that, the appraiser in an office kind of reconciling a value and seeing if something makes sense for a lending decision. I mean, I definitely see that. If lenders are having to wait, 2 months for an appraisal on a refinance and a borrower's losing a rate lock, I just don't think they could work in that environment, and something has to give. When will it be? I don't know. That's why I kind of wanted to get your take on that as well, too, and what you see from the people you talk to.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. I don't know if I have any other special access that anybody else doesn't have, but I do talk to a lot of people, both appraisers and regulators, and people in the moving and shaking side of things. And I don't think you're far off. I really don't. I definitely see the trend in that direction. I know that scares a lot of appraisers, They think that change is not good, and especially if it changes in that way. What kind of an appraiser doesn't actually walk through the property? But I really do. Yep. My crystal ball says that's the way it's going, and so we may fight it, but inevitably it is what it is, and we either embrace it, and that's our new business model, or possibly we do other things. I am not opposed to that kind of a thing if we feel as appraisers we can make sure that we are the quality of our work stays high. There's actually a lot of cover in our industry for that type of thing. I know some appraisers would disagree with me. Some people say, hey, I don't do drive-bys because I don't know what's in the property. But I've talked to individuals such as Ernie that I've had on the program here in the past, and I think it's important to know that that extraordinary assumption, those assumptions that we make as appraisers, can be less of a liability rather than more of a liability when we make assumptions and we properly disclose them. So, who knows? It's hard to know where this is going, but I have a feeling that down the road that you're exactly right, that inspections will probably be a thing of the past. No, we're talking way down the road. I'm not talking about tomorrow. I'm not talking about this year. And I'm not talking about next year. I'm maybe not even talking in the next 3 years, but possibly 5 to 7 years from now. I don't know that appraisers will be doing inspections. That's more of a tier 2 type of thing anyway. But maybe that'll allow us to focus on what we're really good at, and that's valuation of property. What I don't want to see is what we saw in the early 2000s, where the AVM model basically said, we're going to do this as robots, and I think they learned their lesson from that you still have to have that human touch. So I don't think we're going to be out of job, but our jobs may look very different in the next half a decade.
Sure, no, I completely agree. I just kind of want to get your take too. Did you watch that testimony they had in the congressional? I did. Yeah, and I watched that as well too, and I thought one of the good points to take away from that was, how everyone, the big data and all the polls and pundits, they all got the election wrong. So it's kind of
exactly. Exactly.
For the AVM model, and I do think it can be accurate too. And then a lot of those, tract subdivisions where everything's the same, and the only thing you have to really account for is, condition. I'll be honest, where we are in Massachusetts and New England, it's very difficult for those to be accurate because you can have one street where there's a property that's a $400,000 tear down for land value, and then $3 million home on the same street. Yeah. So it's really block by block, and because it's such an old part of the country that the AVMs are just all over the place. They can't even figure it out. So I do think in that sense it'll probably be harder for that. For changes in Massachusetts, just from what I see, but across the country, I could see that taking place. And where you are in Idaho, in rural markets, those are some of the hardest valuations you have to do. I really sympathize for you guys out there, because how do you do it if you only have a couple sales and just go in all different towns and counties and all different types of homes? That must be some of the toughest valuations out there.
Well, let's put it this way, Brendan. If you've only got a couple sales, guess where your comps come from?
That's it.
And it doesn't matter if they're comparable or not. You're still throwing them in. Manufactured home, compare it to a stick-built home. Why not? If it's the only thing that's sold in that town, then you got to throw it in. Now, it's the adjustments that gets to be the difficult part. Choosing comps is easy because you only have 3 comps to choose from. So. But I think you're right. Looking at the data situation, I think you're absolutely correct in the sense that data is what it is, and I think people need to remember data is only data. In the end, it's only data. Yep. It's a tool. Yep. It's something we can utilize. But in the end, appraisal is an art, and data can never replace an art. If you ask me, I think they're getting better at the valuations that are done through a computer are definitely getting better. But you're still going to need that human touch. You're still going to need that that ability to be able to look at that data and judge it in such a way that a computer cannot.
No, I completely agree. And what I tell people all the time is, residential real estate is an emotional purchase. A lot of times you're buying it because, you really like this house on that day. It's sunny, or, I love my wife. I want to make her happy. I don't love the house, but she does. So, okay, I'll buy it.
Exactly.
And you can't, how do you account for that? Whereas commercial-based or multifamilies, at least you can look at the market rent and say, okay, here's market rent for a 2-bedroom, and that adds up. Okay, it's much easier to prove your value in that than on someone's emotional decision at that point in their life.
Absolutely.
So in that sense, I think it will be hard to replace, and maybe we'll just be more reconciling, values as opposed to having to do all the inspections like we've been doing.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit. Let's learn from Brendan. Tell us about your biggest failure, and then let's directly lead into your biggest success.
Yeah, biggest failure, I would say, I probably was maybe a couple years ago. I was really busy, and I kind of tried to expand maybe a little too fast, so I hired a few other appraisers and everything like that. And, I'll be honest, I've done one of those mistakes where one of the biggest mistakes I think you can make is trying to overexpand, because, the appraisers that ended up hiring, I'll be honest, they weren't very good. They weren't very thorough.
Mm-hmm.
I'd often have to fix their reports and correct everything before it went out, and then basically doing the whole report over. So be staying up too late, and just the added stress. And certain clients, there are due dates I have to adhere to, and they're not getting them in on time. And it's just, I think I learned that lesson that, hey, I'd rather just do a little bit less, and at least if I do it, I know it's going to be done right, than try to just expand to make a little more money. But in the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to kill myself.
Well, it's definitely the difference between being an appraiser and being a business owner or manager. It's
Exactly.
Definitely a different mindset.
Sure, and I think that was kind of, it was good. It was a good lesson and wake up call and everything like that. So I found some people that could work with me, that work well. One is a good friend of mine, another who has his license, and another is my father, he's older, but he's a real estate attorney, been a real estate broker, so he's probably the most overqualified appraiser that I've had. He's almost too thorough, but family works well, and I think that model for me in a small practice has suited me well.
Good. So would you consider that your biggest success then?
Yeah, I guess so. I would say so, but I also do work as a real estate agent as well too.
Okay.
My father has the brokerage office, so we list and sell a few properties every year. Just sold one about a month ago. He also has an insurance agency, so that kind of feeds into it. Auto, home, and people tell you when they want to buy or sell or that sort of thing. And it's also given me great perspective as an appraiser, because appraisers come at it differently than real estate agents. And just in terms of what buyers are looking for in a house, I think appraisers overlook a lot of issues, like kind of the functional utility of a floor plan and how it flows, as opposed to just, okay, it's 1,500 square feet and I'm just going to go off of that. Not saying that they all do that, but I think it gives you a lot of different, helps you with the nuances of what goes into, making a market, and what now in this day and age is important to buyers. So I think that has been a good success as well too, just, being able to see both sides of the picture.
Well, and I think part of being a big success is recognizing where those failures are and recognizing where those successes are. And I think that you are one that recognizes that. And I think that's how we learn, and that's how we grow, and that's how we become better as appraisers. Speaking of becoming better as appraisers, how about utilizing technology to allow you to be better as an appraiser? In other words, to work more efficiently at what you do. Alamode has been doing that for me for over 20 years. They've been in this business for over 30 years. There is a reason, folks, that they are the leader in the appraisal software industry. If you have not tried Alamode, you need to check them out. Right now, you can try them for 15 days, and then you can get on their $349 per year for the next 10-year price guarantee. That's 10 years at $349. You cannot see a fee increase for the next 10 years if you jump on this plan, folks. Check it out right now. Go to alamo.com/free trial. Once again, it's alamo.com/free trial. I've been talking off and on with the folks over there at DataMaster about their new DataMaster that's coming out in 2017. It's on its way, folks, but don't wait. Right now, you can try DataMaster for free. It's datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. That's datamasterfreetrial.com/coach for 14 days, unlimited downloads. And what do I mean by that, folks? DataMaster takes the data in one program and directly inputs it into your appraisal program. That's why it saves you time. That's why it saves you energy. That's why it improves the quality of your work, because you don't have the human error process that goes from one screen to another. DataMaster does it for you automatically. You need to check them out. For 14 days, you can do it for free. datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. Once again, it's datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. And finally, we are sponsored today by OREP Insurance. I will be renewing my E&O coming up, and probably about February, March-ish, I'm going to reach out to OREP, and if it's anything like it's been in the past, this is a very, very simple process. I send them an email. They send me a quick questionnaire, and everything else is done behind the scenes. And for the last 2 years, I've actually saved money on my E&O insurance. But folks, that's not the only reason I use OREP. If you will go to their website, that's orep.org, OREP.org, and just click on the benefits tab. Folks, I'm serious, you will be blown away at all that you get as an OREP member. You need to check them out. I don't care who you're with right now. They can't be as good as OREP. Go to orep.org, that's OREP.org, for more information. And welcome back, folks. You are listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast, and specifically, you're listening to Appraiser Stories with Mr. Brendan Campbell out of Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome back, Brendan.
Hey, Dustin, how you doing?
Great, and I'm super happy to have you on. I've enjoyed your story so far. I've enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better. You've been in this long enough that I feel I can reach out to you and say, what would you say to listeners, appraisers, especially young ones who are just up and coming, maybe a helpful tip and trick or something that you've learned over the years that you would want to give to appraisers today?
Well, I guess, I get asked this a lot, like I'm sure you have. I've had a lot of friends that have wanted to get into the industry, and I do have several friends that are appraisers. We all got in around the same time. But I'd say people getting in now, I don't necessarily give up, but there are a lot of challenges of just taking on someone that was willing to train you. And I don't really know how to make someone train someone. It's individual sole proprietors or a couple people. They really have. It's tough for them to want to slow themselves down. So I've actually told a lot of people to go into real estate and get a sales or brokerage license. Well, sorry, sales first, because you can get that in a couple weekends. And then, if you're still interested in being an appraiser, if you start out at a local real estate office and they can get you going in the rental market, you can have consistent money coming in, and, then maybe you can pay your bills. Because let's face it, it's hard for a trainee working at minimal capacity to be able to earn a living and pay for themselves. And just what would you say to that person? Because I don't really know sometimes. And, I don't want to say run for the hills, but I also want to be realistic too,
Right. Well, it's tough. And I get
asked that a lot.
I get, communication a lot from both appraisers who, want to expand and appraisers, of course, who want to get into the business. And it's tough bearing those two right now because of the way that the industry is. If you can find an appraisal firm that's more focused on non-lender side of things, then it's all that much easier. But it's a challenge. Mm-hmm. But I like your tip because I think it's important. If you're really serious about this, start getting the experience now. And what better experience could you get than become a real estate agent and start to dive in and start to understand markets and start to understand square footage and start to understand quality and condition, those types of things which will serve you well as an appraiser.
Yeah, you're right. I actually told a friend of mine that recently. She switched job careers, and she said, I like what you do. You get to see property all day. That seems fun, and I want to do that. And then she asked about how to get what it entailed and the amount of hours and the exams. And she said, oh no. I said, you're better off right now getting your sales license. You can do that in 2 weekends, pass the test, and go work for a company. And that's what she did. Then I do meet a lot of real estate brokers that have both appraisal licenses and the brokerage license, and I tend to find it's you kind of either do one or the other. You're primarily an appraiser or primarily real estate. Some people just like having both, but you can do both. It's just now to get into the appraisal business is just so cumbersome. And I did want to ask you too. Do you think they're going to lower the hours? I know it's. What is it, $2,500 now for certified, and they're talking about going down to $1,000? Or where do you see that appraisal standards board? And are they going to change, or are they flexible?
It's anybody's guess, but I think that it's definitely leaning in that direction. Go back a couple weeks ago, I talked to Isaac Peck about that, and he seemed pretty optimistic that that's the direction it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. So I have told people that that's the talk throughout the industry, and it does seem better because everyone can go to the classes, I think, and if you study, the exam's not easy, but it's how do you get those hours? And I think that's the problem, and a lot of people would like to take on more people and, to create more volume and make more money. It's just we're kind of stuck where we are right now.
Right.
So,
It's tough. And I think your goal right there is exactly what everybody's goal is. And I think until they have a financial incentive to hire and to train, you're gonna see it being a challenge. And I think they're at least moving in that direction, but it may take a while to get there.
Yeah, that's why I say too. If you have a family, that might be. I mean, if you're in my situation too, and there's a family member, or sometimes people that work part time, I think that's a good way to do it. Maybe someone who. Back, my father told me stories. Some of the big real estate brokerage offices in the Boston area that started out in the 50s or 60s, they built their business model on, hiring a lot of housewives as agents because, they weren't the primary income earner and their husbands were out working and they could do it part-time, and it was a great way to do it. And I could see that in the appraisal side too. If you don't have to rely on that as your primary sole income, that's a good way for someone to get into it if they have another job or a part-time job, or that they can still make ends meet. But I think you have to give it serious consideration because it's definitely not for everyone.
Absolutely.
The current setup.
All right, my friend, ready for the lightning round?
Yeah, sure.
Here we go.
Let's go. Inside
out or outside in?
Outside in.
Okay. Tape roller or laser?
Oh, I'm all about the wheel, the roller.
Even on the brownstones, huh?
Well, the wheel, I mean, you got to realize when you're in some unsavory neighborhoods, it extends out. It's kind of like a bat, so it can be protection, too.
Ah, gotcha. I never thought of that. I mean, actually, I did think of that because I was attacked by a dog once, and I had to use my roller as a protection. So, all right.
There you go.
Tablet, computer, or clipboard and pen?
Oh, I'm all about the iPhone and then the, mobile that way, and then clipboard and pen just when I'm in the field. I like to jot notes down, and I remember things better if I write them down for some reason, just how my brain works.
We need to get together, my friend. Appraisal software.
I'm on ECI.
Okay.
I've been for a while.
Favorite thing to do when you're not appraising?
Well, past 4 years, it's been chasing around 4-year-old my twin.
Nice. That pretty much takes your whole life, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, and when they go to bed, you just pass out. So,
I'm sure you're right.
No, we like to ski. My wife and I, we travel a lot. We do travel ski. I like to get to the gym, try to get back in now that the kids are getting a little bit older, and do that sort of thing now, and try to get that healthy lifestyle back just from being exhausted for the past several years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, what?
Skiing, I just want to say quick, I'd love to go up to Idaho and really hit up those Rocky Mountains.
Oh, I'll tell you, man, there's nothing like skiing. Nothing like skiing in my backyard. It is amazing. You need to come out.
Yeah, here it's on ice.
Yeah. Not here, man. Pure powder. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, what speed do you listen to the Appraiser Coach podcast on?
Oh, which speed? I guess just I know you guys are on YouTube, but I just do the regular podcast download that you have on there.
See, but most people don't know you can actually speed it up, man. It's actually better. It's actually better when you speed it up. You got to look into it.
Oh, okay. I just hit play, when I go on and listen you guys go.
There you go.
Like I say, I'm usually typing emails going off like crazy. People are calling me, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it's like it's always like 7 different things going on. Get it in pieces.
So what's your one goal? We're starting out this first of 2017 here. What's your one goal for this year, Brendan?
To do less work.
I love it, my friend. That's a great goal. Thank you for joining us today, folks. And Brendan, thank you for being a part of this. It wasn't so bad, right?
No, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you being willing to let us get to know you. And folks, if you're interested in being a part of the Appraiser Stories, we've slowed down a little bit on the requests. So I would love to have some of you on. Reach out to me at theappraisercoach.com. I also want to remind you that right now you can get $50 off the Go Create Some Value workshop. And that's on my website, theappraisercoach.com. Just go to workshop, and when you get to checkout, make sure you put podcast in the coupon code section. And you get $50 off the Go Create Some Value workshop. Folks, thanks for joining us today, and we'll catch you next time.